All right, continue discussing proposed ordinance, lost it, hold on a second, technology. Flea market regulations pertaining to licensing fees, town manager.
Yes, Mayor. First of all, I want to let you know that we still have a public hearing scheduled next week, mainly coming from the provisions that came out of the Planning Commission with their recommendations on the Friday. But when we discussed it at the last work session, there was still some discussion on how we were going to handle the table fees. And that's where we're at today, really, at this point, is determining. We did investigate to try to find some of that history and why we stopped collecting table fees. And we did find some correspondence back and forth between staff, but we never found any resolution that was met. And it just basically stopped at that point of collection of anything. I think it was back in 2013. So.
Would I assume that your recommendation is to start fresh and move forward with this? Or do we still need time to keep hashing out the past tax on the tables?
Well, I think that we need to try to simplify it a little bit more than what we have right now. I think the way the current code stays with $1 a table, I think it is cumbersome and hard to track. So I think that, possibly a flat fee would be the most appropriate thing.
We hit on $500 last meeting. I mean, we just hit on it. 500 is nothing set in stone. I understand that the flea market in Double Toll Gate, they get $5. Now, do they collect the $250 fees, or they just rent tables for that? Because we're collecting $250 for the
itinerant merchants.
For itinerant merchants, yes.
They collect it, but it's a $500 flat fee as well for the itinerant merchants for each one.
So they're
theirs is more than ours, their fee.
Yeah.
For the itinerant merchants.
I think council needs to weigh in and weigh out. I mean, we have a small flea market. It's nowhere comparison to Double Toll Gate. A flea market is a flea market. You're not going to put lipstick on a pig and make it pretty. So the fee is the biggest holdup here, whether we're going to go with 500 or 250, and that would be up to the council to decide. We're in no hurry.
Currently, we've done nothing. Currently, we've collected nothing from that.
We had at one time, but we're collecting on the merchants that are setting up, and the new merchants are starting to come in. We're collecting $250. Is that correct,
Yes,
on BJ?
correct.
Yeah, we're collecting $250 plus.
For each new merchant.
Plus, yes, and the landowners pays the taxes, or I guess maybe Linda pays the taxes. Somebody pays taxes on the land, so I guess it would just boil down to if you want to do the $250 a year flat fee, make it simple and move forward with it. I don't know what council is thinking. Anybody like to chime in?
Well, Mr. Mayor, many years ago when this thing was started, I think you and I both were on the council. When it comes down to the merchant fees that we need and the $1 per table, that was a lot of money that that was collected, and I don't know how much they got, but that's beside the point. But it's too cumbersome to do the $1 fee anymore. I mean, it's just almost impossible to keep an accurate account of who's there and who's not there each week. So I would like to just go ahead and leave it at $500 as has been recommended here, and go with that. And I'd like to see that placed in that part of the ordinance next week. I'll just up for public hearing at our next actual council meeting.
I can support the $500 fee. I truly believe it's too cumbersome to do $1 a table and try to figure it out and calculate it.
Jake?
Yeah, I'm not for the $1 a table. I can go with staff's recommendation.
I think
John?
a flat fee makes perfect sense. I don't know what's a good number or a fair number. If the choice is between 500 and 250, I'll always go with the lower number. Simply because I'd rather undertax people that are trading and creating opportunities here in Front Royal than overtax. So if that's what our choice is, I'll go with the lower number. But I do think a flat fee is is what we're after.
Yeah, I am too. I'm for the flat fee. I'm not for the dollar because, like I said, it was too cumbersome before. And I'm sure that's pretty much the reason we didn't collect it, for a period of time. But again, we're adding another day. The one over in Frederick's only for 2 days. And I think that the $500 is more than adequate than the $250. I think that since we're changing our ordinance and taking all the time that we have, then I don't see no problem with the $500 fee per year on that.
Joe, when do we have to make a determination of the fee structure?
Well, I mean, if we don't make a decision for Monday's reading, we'll still proceed with at least allowing the flea market, the public hearing to proceed for they can operate on Fridays, and we can still hash this out some more, and then issue another public notice and have another public hearing, so.
We already did a reading though, right? This would be a second.
No, we haven't done a reading.
We haven't
yet.
done a reading
So
yet?
first reading will be Monday, next month.
Anybody would like to rethink the fee, slice it in half, $250? Anybody?
I mean, I agree with John. I mean, I don't have I mean, for me to understand the 250 versus the 500, my first comment would have been like, how much are we getting from the current tables, which we don't have that number. So if it's equivalent to what we think we should have been getting for that, I could be okay with the $250.
The one thing I want to mention is, looking at Frederick County or Double Toll Gate, they have 300 plus tables.
Yeah.
Where versus Linda, the flea market here only has about 100, a little over 100. So that is to bear in mind. Also, another thing that pulled this year alone, we've had 7 itinerary merchants down there at flea market.
Wow.
So that's 7 and 250s, or maybe possibly prorated some. It depends when they got the permit issued. So we've got that as well coming in.
Plus, I know her goal, and I've spoke to her several times, her goal is to bring more of these fee payers. I mean, they're paying $250, and, we have to be very mindful of that also. Me, myself personally, $250, $500 is not that much difference, but when you're running small, Gene, if you'd like to go with $250.
I have no problem with that. I was throwing out the number
Sure.
we had on our agenda,
Yeah.
and I have no problem with the 250.
Bill, you got any problem with
No, I don't, I'm just concerned about we haven't collected anything for 3 years, and that's very troublesome to me.
It is, and but we're going to move forward. We're going to take care of things now. And Joe, it sounds like we have a consensus for $250 flat fee, and we'll start all over and have a good relationship with the flea market.
Well, make sure that when we write up the ordinance, Doug, that's reflected in Monday night's meeting for the 250. I don't want to go and have to make a
No, we don't want
motion
another
and
meeting.
rechange a motion and add an amendment to it or take one away.
If this has been advertised already and we can't make a change like that at this point, could we
Yeah,
at
but
least make
slower.
sure that the motion is
Slower.
structured?
You can if it's lower.
Advertised for 500?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Have we? No, I don't think
we haven't
we
advertised.
haven't advertised for 5 at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, we're good with
The
two.
only
Alright.
advertisement for Monday's reading is for the change on the Fridays.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
But if we could still do it if it had been, because it's less than what the $500 would be, so that's permissible.
I understand. Thank you.
Council with a heart. I like that. Thank you, Linda, for coming in. Sorry you didn't get to say anything. So.